I never imagined I'd be standing in a small claims courtroom at 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, sipping an iced coffee while watching an HOA president's face cycle through shades of purple. But there I was, Daniel Palmer, a 35-year-old software developer, witnessing Judge Harrison dissect my property deed with precision of a surgeon. "Mr. Palmer," he said, peering over his glasses, "your property is on Mockingbird Circle, east of Elmridge Drive." "Correct." "Yes, Your Honor," I replied, calm but ready. He turned to the plaintiff, Rebecca Garrison, the Maple Heights HOA president. Her pristine blonde bob seemed to wilt under his gaze. "Ms. Garrison, your HOA charter clearly states Maple Heights only includes properties west of Elmridge Drive. Is Mr. Palmer a member of your HOA?" Rebecca's mouth flapped like a fish out of water. "Well, he should be," she squeaked. Judge Harrison's eyebrows shot up, nearly vanishing into his thinning hairline. "That's not what I asked. Is he a member?" "No, but—" "Then why are we here?" His gavel slammed down, making the room jump. Case dismissed with prejudice. "Ms. Garrison, you're fined $500 for a frivolous lawsuit, and I'm referring this to the county for HOA misconduct." Rebecca's face drained from purple to ghostly white. 2 weeks later, the Maple Heights HOA was dissolved. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to how this circus began. I'm a simple man. I value 3 things: a quiet morning coffee, the freedom to paint my front door any color I choose, and being left alone. When I was house hunting last year, I made my mission to find a home free from the clutches of Homeowners Association. I'd heard too many horror stories. Friends fined for slightly off-shade curtains or harassed over a single weed in their lawn. After months of searching, I found my haven on Mockingbird Circle, a charming cul-de-sac with towering oaks and neighbors who kept to themselves. The real estate agent swore the property wasn't part of the Maple Heights HOA, which governed the newer development west of Elmridge Drive. My lawyer confirmed it, and I double-checked the deed. Freedom to install solar panels or plant a wild garden without begging committee. Priceless. For 6 months, life was perfect. I painted my front door vibrant turquoise, replaced the standard grass with a wildflower garden, and mounted a dragon-shaped weather vane on my garage. My neighbors found it quirky but endearing. Then Rebecca Garrison moved in. Rebecca, a woman with the energy of a caffeinated drill sergeant, became Maple Heights HOA president within 3 months. She was the type who'd measure your grass with a ruler and cite you for a mailbox that was half an inch too tall. Her reign of terror initially targeted her own HOA members, but then she set her sights on me. It started with a letter on official Maple Heights HOA letterhead, accusing me of violating bylaws 3.2, 5.7, and 8.4. My turquoise door was an unapproved color. My weather vane was a whimsical architectural element. My wildflowers? Uncontrolled vegetation. I sent a polite response, attaching my property survey to prove I wasn't in their jurisdiction. I thought that would end it. I was wrong. 2 days later, at 7 a.m., Rebecca appeared at my door, clipboard in hand, wearing a blazer with an HOA president pin so large it could double as a hubcap. "Mr. Palmer," she declared, "we need to discuss your integration into Maple Heights community standards." I stood there in my pajamas, coffee mug in hand. "Integration? I'm not in your HOA." She waved a hand. "A technicality. Your nonconformity affects our neighborhood ecosystem." "Nonconformity?" I laughed. "I have a blue door and some flowers. I'm not running a chop shop." She thrust a 50-page voluntary membership packet at me, listing $175 monthly dues, a palette of approved beige and gray paint colors, and a demand to remove my weather vane. I handed it back. "Not happening. Have a nice day." As I closed the door, she wedged her foot in. "The HOA has ways of dealing with difficult neighbors." "Are you threatening me?" I asked, stunned. "I'm informing you of consequences," she said with chilling smile. "We're a close-knit community. You don't want to be isolated." I considered calling the police but held off. Her actions were annoying, not illegal. I figured she'd tire out. Instead, her campaign intensified. Daily violation notices arrived, each more absurd than the last. My bird feeder was at an incorrect angle. My garden hose was coiled counterclockwise. My trash cans were set out 3 minutes early. Then came the petition. Rebecca canvassed both Maple Heights and my neighborhood, claiming 60% of residents wanted to annex our area into the HOA. In reality, she had 12 signatures from a community of over 100 homes. Hardly a majority. Quality over quantity, she insisted when I pointed this out. She organized community improvement walks, which were thinly veiled excuses for her and her followers to loiter on the sidewalk outside my house, loudly critiquing my property. She filed city complaints about my wildflowers, claiming they attracted dangerous bees. The inspector complimented my pollinator-friendly garden and left. She tried to classify my weather vane as a structure needing a permit. The building department laughed it off. She even called animal control about my bird feeder, alleging a public health hazard. They told her to get a hobby. I documented everything: letters, visits, complaints. My neighbor, Tom Brennan, a retired lawyer, suggested a harassment restraining order. But before I could act, Rebecca made her fatal mistake. One morning, I found a summons taped to my door. Rebecca, on behalf of the HOA, was suing me in small claims court for $3,850 in accumulated fines and unpaid dues. I was floored. She was trying to enforce HOA rules on someone outside her jurisdiction. With Tom's help, I prepared my defense: my deed, the HOA charter, boundary maps, and a detailed record of Rebecca's harassment. On Tuesday, I walked into court armed and ready. Rebecca, in a power suit, radiated confidence beside her uneasy lawyer. Her lawyer argued I had violated HOA standards and refused to pay fines. Judge Harrison listened, then turned to me. "Mr. Palmer, are you in the Maple Heights HOA?" "No, Your Honor. My property is outside their jurisdiction." I handed over my evidence. After a brief review, Judge Harrison's irritation was palpable. "Ms. Garrison, your charter excludes Mr. Palmer's property. Is he a member?" "Well, he should be," she stammered. "That's not the question." His gavel crashed. "Case dismissed. Ms. Garrison, you're fined $500 for a frivolous lawsuit. This matter is referred to the county for investigation." But he wasn't done. "Ms. Garrison, did you use HOA funds for this lawsuit?" Her lawyer tried to intervene, but the judge silenced him. "The board approved it to protect property values," Rebecca mumbled. "You used HOA money to sue a non-member?" Judge Harrison shook his head. "That could be fraud. You'll need a criminal defense attorney." Rebecca's confidence shattered. Her hands trembled as she gathered her papers. The county investigation moved swiftly. An auditor uncovered Rebecca's misuse of HOA funds. $3,000 for neighborhood beautification. That was actually her personal landscaping. $1,500 for board meeting catering at restaurants where she dined alone, and a failure to file the HOA's annual state reports for 2 years, rendering it illegally operational. Tom's contacts revealed Maple Heights residents were fed up. Rebecca's actions were the final straw. A special meeting was called, the first in 5 years with enough attendees for a quorum. The sole agenda item: dissolve the HOA. The vote was 73 to 12 in favor. When the results were announced, Rebecca shouted, "You'll regret this when your property values plummet." A resident fired back, "The only thing plummeting is your reputation, Rebecca." The county DA filed charges: 2 counts of misdemeanor fraud for misusing funds and 1 for filing a false legal document against me. Rebecca pled no contest to 1 fraud charge, with others dropped. She received 6 months probation, 200 hours of community service teaching financial literacy, $8,500 in restitution to former HOA members, and a 10-year ban from serving on any HOA board in the state. In court, as the judge read her sentence, Rebecca's composure collapsed. The woman who tried to control an entire neighborhood stood frozen, her identity in tatters. When the gavel fell, signaling next case, she didn't move. Back on Mockingbird Circle, peace returned. My turquoise door still shines, my wildflowers bloom, and my dragon weather vane spins in the breeze. Neighbors who once feared Rebecca's clipboard now wave cheerfully. The dissolution of the HOA didn't tank property values. It liberated us. As for me, I'm back to my quiet mornings, sipping coffee and savoring the freedom to live on my terms. Rebecca's reign was a lesson. Never underestimate the power of a few documents and a lot of persistence, or the satisfaction of watching a bully's empire crumble under the weight of their own hubris.